Okay, a video where I basically tell you everything to buy. This is kind of an ironic video because you really shouldn't listen to me about what to buy. Everyone's situation is different, so you have to know you. You have to know your budget, your uses for the gear, and whether it will actually make a difference in your photography. Because a lot of the stuff we buy may be 4 times as expensive, but won't really give you much of a change in your photography. Some people even recommend spending your money on classes or courses and learning photography, and that'll make you bet, but that's no fun. Get out of here. All right, so people always contact me on Instagram or Twitter and just basically ask me what to buy. It's usually between 2 things. And the answer is always pretty much the same. It depends. It depends. It depends. And I apologize if I don't get back to some of you, but there's just so many. I've become like Fuji support, if something's wrong with people's cameras. And I've also become like a personalized, shopper assistant for many people. So I just wrote down a bunch of the common ones that I get, and I will tell you which I would buy. But again, remember, it's an ironic video. Don't buy what I say. All right, first one, XT30, or should I keep my old XT2? In that case, I would say keep the XT2. The XT2 is weather sealed. It has an ISO dial. Sure, it doesn't have touch, but it's a more robust body. It's got dual card slots. I just didn't really like the XT30's lack of a D-pad. The swipe features Fuji added, forget those. Keep the XT2. All right, Fujifilm X-T3 or Sony A7 III? Again, it depends, but which would I buy? If I was just a casual street shooter, shooting family, going on vacation travel, I would take the X-T3 in a heartbeat. Smaller lenses, smaller gear, smaller kit, you could just bring it everywhere and enjoy your photography. However, if I'm shooting portraits and weddings or sports, also doing hybrid video that needs face auto detection, the Sony A7 III is the way to go. You gotta play with the colors a lot, in my opinion, but I would buy the A7 III if I was going pro. It's a much better AF autofocus camera than the Fujifilm stuff. Sorry, Fujifilm. Update your, focus system / lenses. Okay, Canon EOS R, Sony A7 III, or Fujifilm X-T3. Again, it depends. That's a tough one. Those are all 3 great cameras. It comes down to cost. They're all kind of the same price, believe it or not. So you can't go wrong with any of them. So again, it depends what you do. But if I'm telling you which one to buy, number 1 for me would be the Canon EOS R because it has a flip out screen. I love shooting full frame portraits. I love full frame. I'm sorry. I love full frame, man. Second would be the X-T3, and third, the Sony A7 III. Again, it depends how much autofocus you need, because my answer would be completely different if someone said, hey, you're shooting sports and you need the best autofocus. I would pick the Sony there. Gosh, there's no good answers. The other thing is don't buy the Canon EOS R because Canon is announcing brand new cameras, which will come out later this year, the R5 and the R6. So wait for those. Okay, a budget of $700. The person is thinking about the Godox AD600 for portraits and food. Should I get speed lights or one Godox AD600? Ooh, that's a great question. Do you get one large monolight because that's in your budget? Or do you get 2 or even 3 speed lights? Here's my advice. If you're shooting mostly in lower light, where you can supplement with flash, that means you're shooting later in the day or you're shooting indoors, I would always go for the speed lights. Speed lights are absolutely awesome because you can shoot with one main light, you can shoot with a rear light. Shooting with multiple lights is great. It gives your photographs depth. And so I would go with I would buy the speed lights. Now, if you're trying to do high speed sync, that means you're shooting kind of in the middle of the day or where it's really bright, I'd have to go with the AD600 because you're getting your backlight from the sun anyway, and then you can use your AD600 to photograph the portraits. Should I get the XH1 because I love the ergonomics, or XT20, XT30? 95% stills guy, he says. I would get XH1 is a good camera. For me, I obviously would buy the XT20. Oop, that's not the XT20. I would buy the XT20 because right now I have a grip on my XT20, which makes it feel like an XH1. And it also gives you the ability to take off this grip and make the camera smaller. So personally, buy the XT20. But again, it depends because the XH1 has IBIS in it if you're doing lower light photography, handheld. So that depends too. Everything depends, you see? I get these questions and I don't know how to answer them. XT2 or XT4? Well, I'm actually waiting for the XT4 today. FedEx is coming. My friends at B&H have sent us an XT4 that we're gonna bring on a trip to Maine, and can't wait to test that. So that will be its own video, so stay tuned. That was a teaser, yo. That was a teaser. The Godox V1 or 860 version 2 flash. I have those here. All right, Godox came out with a round head flash called the V1, and they also have their typical, rectangular head speed light, which is the 860. I would absolutely 100% buy the 860 version 2. And I'll tell you why. The V1 round head is a lot more expensive. They have about the same amount of light. The battery is super annoying because it just, slides out and leaves this hole here. I hate that design. I love the door, the old door for the flash. The round head, as cool as it is very inconvenient to put like things on it, and to gel it is completely horrible. The V1 has a better menu, but you could just throw that menu out the window if the flash is got a terrible battery design and is actually like cheaper plastic. I would go with the 860. Fun. All right, more. The 35 f2 or the 35 1.4 for video. Definitely the 35 f2 because its autofocus is completely quiet and silent. But overall, I don't really use Fujifilm for video because it likes to focus like So I'm excited to try the Fuji X-T4 to see if there's less of this like breathing that happens. So when I film my videos, I film them on Sony or Canon. Sorry. XT3 for its weather resistance or XT30? I'm gonna go with the XT3. I think the XT30 is a miss by Fujifilm because of the placement of the Q button, sorry, and the lack of the D-pad, sorry. Your touch features are not that great, sorry. So the XT3 is an awesome camera, weather resistant, has the D-pad, also has touch. So I would go XT3. 27mm pancake lens versus the 35. Which would you have? Well, this one's rough. This one, I guess, depends. Because the only reason in my mind to get the pancake lens is just to make your camera smaller. The lens is really, really, really good. But so is the 35. If you don't mind the hunk and nose, if I can only have one, I'll have the 35. Buy the 35 f2. It's like super bang for your buck awesomeness. It's got the aperture ring on it. So I love this lens. The 27, the reason I own both is because I love to slap the 27 on the Fujifilm and make it kind of like a X100 camera. So you can't go wrong with the 27mm pancake lens. I wish they made more pancake lenses this size. The 18mm f2 is a pancake lens too, but it's a little bigger. So I like this guy. Okay, the 16 to 80 f4 or the 18 to 55 lens. If I can only have one of those lenses, it would be the 16 to 80 f4. It's got image stabilization. It goes wide to 16, which beats the kit lens. And the kit lens, which is 18 to 55 here, is a variable aperture. So it's 2.8 wide, but then when you zoom it goes to f4. So I love that lens, but that is a little lame. That's a variable. I don't like variable aperture lenses so much. It also has no markings on its aperture ring. So 16 to 80 f4 is what I would buy. X100 series or a Fujifilm X-T30 with a pancake lens. 100% buy the X-T30 with a pancake lens. I love the X100 series. However, I don't like to limit myself. I like to actually go nuts and buy lots of lenses. All right, so ask me more questions below and I could do another one of these. We could maybe do it live and talk about which would I buy, which again, remember is irony. Do not listen to me and don't listen to other YouTubers. Listen to your heart. All right, I'll see you guys next time.